Aaron Matei, who is a host of a show called The Real News, and he's also a writer for The Nation. And he's been following the Russiagate story. Yes, we're going to get to it. We're going to talk about Russia because, I mean, is there anything else anybody's talking about nowadays? And Aaron, do we have Aaron on the line?
Hey, Malcolm.
Aaron, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Aaron, you have been following the Russiagate, if that's what we want to call it, story, and you've been following closely, I'm sure, the events of the past weekend. And then previously, not only at the Helsinki summit, the Trader Summit or whatever it's being called on Twitter. I find Twitter is very even-handed. People they're not over the top at all. So that's a straightforward assessment.
Great place to be. Yes, great place to be.
But also the Mueller indictments. Let's start with the Mueller indictments because that was the huge story leading up to the meeting. Whether Trump should cancel the meeting, like he was ever going to cancel that meeting. So what are the key allegations that we didn't have before from the Mueller indictments that are this is the real smoking gun? All those dozens and thousands and millions of other smoking guns we talked to you about before. This is the real one.
This is it.
Yeah, so what are the allegations specifically in the indictment that people are pointing to as being, conclusive?
Let me first put my cards on the table so people know where I'm coming from. I've been a skeptic of Russiagate for a long time. I don't think it's everything it's cracked up to be. So I will say that with this Mueller indictment, we do have the most, we have a few things. One, we have the first time really that Mueller, after more than a year of investigating, is actually charging someone for something directly related to the issue at hand, which is either Russian government interference in the US election and potential Trump campaign collusion. So this is a charge for the first time with something to do with one of those things, which is, in this case, alleged Russian government interference, because we have 12 Russian military intelligence officers accused of the email hacking of the Democratic Party and some scanning of voter databases, and also an elaborate sort of cyber financial scheme to help cover up their tracks. And so, and also for the first time, we have significant detail. We have Mueller lays out a very elaborate case, account accusing these intelligence officers of doing this, of penetrating the DNC servers, of then using a sort of fake cutout account known as Guccifer 2.0 to distribute the hacked emails to WikiLeaks. So it's, for the first time, it's a detailed allegation from Mueller. Now, where I think I differ from the conventional reaction to this is that while I welcome the detail and I think it's a new step in this case, I don't think it proves anything. It's an allegation. We know, and Glenn Greenwald is someone who's made this point pretty tirelessly over the last few days, that we don't automatically just take the word of prosecutors. And I should add, by the way, that I don't personally take the word, especially of Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller, when he was the chief of the FBI, he testified to Congress about claiming that there was an Iraqi WMD program and that he was concerned it could be transferred to terrorists. So,
wait, was he right about that? I forget. I don't remember WMDs.
I don't remember either, but I guess I'm my memory is vague enough that I should at least be open to alternative assertions from Mueller.
Right, so, and this is generally speaking, just because something comes from an intelligence operation does not mean you accept it out of hand without some skepticism. The intelligence community, I love that term, has earned skepticism. It doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean they're lying, but it doesn't mean they don't get they don't get a pass from all that in the past and from what's happened before. So you're saying you treat this with skepticism.
Yeah. Now, there have been for a while all these alternative theories about what actually happened to the DNC emails. Some allege that it was a leak from the inside. There's a conspiracy theory about Seth Rich around that. I don't believe the Seth Rich thing, but in terms of it even being a leak, I've never gone there because I've tried to go there. I've tried to read the material, but I'm just not tech savvy enough to understand it. I just don't get it. So I don't feel confident enough to weigh in that either way on that issue. But I also, but similarly, I bring that same skepticism to Mueller's assertions here. I think we should wait to see the evidence they have for how they obtained this pretty granular detail of how Russian military intelligence officers, down to their very names, they even identified their names, carried out this elaborate hack of the DNC. And some of the theories that are out there are that whoever carried out the hacks. The one reason I can already say that I'm skeptical that it was the Russian government, or at least that I would be open to the possibility that it wasn't the Russian government, is because I do think it's pretty obvious, and it's pretty uncontroversial, that the hackers, whoever they were pretty sloppy. So they left digital fingerprints that allowed their IP address to be discovered. There was some Cyrillic characters apparently deliberately implanted. So there are strong indications that whoever did this wanted to get caught. And that has led to theories that Guccifer 2.0, the person who allegedly transmitted the emails on behalf of the Russian government to WikiLeaks, was actually a front concocted not by the Russian government, but by somebody else. That is the alternative theory. I don't know enough to weigh in on its validity, but I also don't rule out. And also, there's one more thing that my colleague Max Blumenthal pointed out, which I thought was interesting. In the indictment, Mueller asserts that WikiLeaks did not finish receiving all the stolen material until mid-July. Right? He gives a date in July. I believe it's July 12th or July 14th. And that before that, there were several successful failed attempts to transfer the material from Guccifer 2.0 to WikiLeaks. But Max Blumenthal pointed out that actually Julian Assange announced on June 12th that they had material on Hillary Clinton that they were going to release in the upcoming months. So way before then, Mueller alleges that WikiLeaks finally received the material. So maybe if all this checks out, Assange was just bragging about something he didn't have. But it's also possible that Mueller has, and the information that Mueller has, and I'm not asserting Mueller made anything up. I think he's going on whatever information he was given, possibly, by the way, by CrowdStrike, which is to me a shady firm, the same firm that analyzed the DNC servers, and possibly just basing his conclusions on faulty information. I don't assert that with any strong confidence, but I just think it's important to raise these questions, especially given, as you mentioned, how wrong intel agencies have been before.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this clip. There's a whole hour and a half of aggressive progressives waiting for you at the Young Turks Network. Become a member and get access to all the content.